Welcome to the longest running quiz show in the area. Categories. High school students compete to answer questions on topics from art to science, history to current events. And now, here's your categories host, John Bartell.
Hi, welcome to Categories. Today we're bringing you the battle of Northwest versus Northwest as we bring you the Blue Valley Northwest Huskies versus the Shawnee Mission Northwest Cougars. Let's first meet our competitors from Blue Valley Northwest.
Hi, I'm Jack. I'm a senior at Northwest.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm a senior.
I'm Jesse. I'm a junior.
I'm Fedra. I'm a junior.
I'm Andrew. I'm a junior.
And our competitors from Shawnee Mission Northwest.
I'm Chris. I'm a senior.
I'm Thomas. I'm a senior.
I'm Mitch. I'm a senior.
I'm Jordan. I'm a senior.
I'm Kirk Beto, and I'm a sophomore.
Fantastic. And don't forget, here on Categories in the first round, it is we will take turns answering questions. If the team responds correctly, they earn a point. If they do respond incorrectly, the other team will get a chance to steal that category. So first of all, we did a coin toss before we started taping, and it was won by Shawnee Mission Northwest. So Cougars, here is the first category. It is math. Some equations are true for all possible values of the unknowns they contain. What are they called? Thomas?
Continuous.
Cannot accept continuous. Huskies, chance to steal this math category. Michael?
General equations.
Cannot accept general equations. We're looking for identities. Huskies, you have the next category, science, medicine. The chief problem associated with organ transplants is that the recipient's immune system often reacts against the new organ as though it's some kind of invading organism. This is known as what? Jack?
Rejection.
Rejection is correct. Cougars, vocabulary is the category. Which of the following words best defines subsume? You have a choice here. Subsume, does it mean to instruct, to confuse, to categorize, or to improve? Kirk?
Categorize.
Categorize, that is correct. Huskies, presidential history is your category. Which U.S. president, and a favorite of President Reagan, said, "If you don't say anything, you won't be called on to repeat it"? Andrew?
Kennedy.
That is incorrect. Cougars, chance to steal this presidential history category. Which U.S. president, a favorite of President Reagan, said, "If you don't say anything, you won't be called on to repeat it"? Kirk?
Calvin Coolidge.
It is Coolidge. Very good. Cougars, next category for you is current events. Who is the Republican of Alaska that was declared the winner in a Senate race after running as a write-in candidate? Huskies, chance to steal this current events question. Who is the Republican from Alaska that was declared the winner in the Senate race after running as a write-in candidate? Andrew?
Palin.
That is not correct. Lisa Murkowski. Murkowski is the correct response. Huskies, you do get the next category, which is literature. What outlaw character first appeared in English literature in 1375? Andrew?
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood is correct. Cougars, economics is your category. What Belgian diamond trading center is home to the world's oldest stock exchange? Chris?
De Beers.
That is incorrect. Huskies, economics is the category, your chance to steal. What Belgian diamond trading center is home to the world's oldest stock exchange? Andrew?
Brussels.
Brussels is incorrect. Antwerp. Antwerp is what we're looking for. Huskies, music is the category. Which musical instrument is known as a licorice stick? Michael?
A flute.
It is not the flute. Cougars, chance to steal this music category. Which musical instrument is known as a licorice stick? Thomas?
The oboe.
It is not the oboe. It's the clarinet. The clarinet. Cougars, general knowledge is the category. A numismatist collects coins. What does a philatelist do? Thomas?
Collect stamps.
It is stamps, that is correct. Huskies, language is your category. What part of speech does the fifth word function in the beginning of The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe? And here it is. Once upon a midnight dreary. Andrew?
Noun.
Noun is incorrect. Cougars, chance to steal this language category. What part of speech does the fifth word function in the beginning of The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe? And Jordan?
Adjective.
It is an adjective. Midnight dreary, describing midnight. Cougars, geography, climate is your category. Mangrove swamps are generally located in what type of climate? Jordan?
Tropical.
Tropical is correct. Huskies, world history is your category. The period between 1958 and 1960, during which China attempted to increase its level of development beyond that of the Soviet Union and other countries, is known as what? Andrew?
Great Leap Forward.
Great Leap Forward is correct. Cougars, U.S. history is your category. A second American victory at what site followed just 1 week after George Washington's outstanding triumph in 1776 at the Battle of Trenton? Thomas?
Lexington.
Lexington is incorrect. Huskies, chance to steal this U.S. history category. A second American victory at what site followed just 1 week after George Washington's outstanding triumph in 1776 at the Battle of Trenton? Andrew?
Princeton.
Princeton is correct. Huskies, artists is the next category. What 20th century French artist invented a technique of découpage, a method of creating pictures with painted papers cut up and assembled with paste? Phaedra?
Picasso.
Picasso is incorrect. Cougars, chance to steal this artist category. What 20th century French artist invented the technique of découpage, a method of creating pictures with painted papers cut up and assembled with paste? Kirk?
Monet.
It is not Monet. It's Henri Matisse, or Henri Matisse. Philosophy, Cougars. The philosophy called empiricism maintains that all knowledge is necessarily derived from experience and the utilization of the five what? Jordan?
Senses.
Five senses is correct. Huskies, science, species is your category. This grazing animal that lives in the mountain regions of Peru and Bolivia resembles the llama, but has much longer wool and better quality. Michael?
Alpaca.
Alpaca is correct. Cougars, literature is the next category, and it's a multiple choice. What happens to Don Juan at the end of most versions of his legend? And here are the choices. He finds true love. He enters a monastery. He is shot by a husband. He is dragged into hell, or he dies alone. Thomas?
He enters a monastery.
That is incorrect. Huskies, chance to steal this literature category. What happens to Don Juan at the end of most versions of his legend? And here are the choices. He finds his true love. He enters a monastery. He is shot by a husband. He is dragged into hell, or he dies alone. Andrew?
He's dragged into hell.
He is dragged into hell is correct. Huskies, the next category for you is sports. One of the major races leading to the Kentucky Derby is the Wood Memorial, held at Aqueduct. In what state? Andrew?
Illinois.
It is not in Illinois. Cougars, chance to steal the sports category. One of the major races leading to the Kentucky Derby is the Wood Memorial, held at Aqueduct. In what state? Thomas?
Tennessee.
It is not Tennessee, it is New York. New York. Cougars, you get the next question, and it's a current event category question. Which nation has formally appealed for a massive loan from the European Union and the International Monetary Fund? Jordan?
Greece.
I cannot accept Greece. Huskies, chance to steal this current events category. Which nation has formally appealed for a massive loan from the European Union and the International Monetary Fund? Jack?
Ireland.
It is Ireland. That is correct. Huskies, you have the next category, art terminology. What do we call an artistic representation of a particular person? Jesse?
A caricature.
Cannot accept caricature. Cougars, art terminology is the category, and here's your chance to steal. What do we call an artistic representation of a particular person? Kirk?
A portrait.
A portrait is correct. Cougars, geography, explorers is your category. Francisco de Orellana explored it and named it for its legendary tribe of Greek warriors. His journey covered 4,000 miles and was through territory that more than 400 years later remains virtually as it was then. What did Orellana explore? Kirk?
The Amazon.
The Amazon is correct. Huskies, U.S. history is your category. During a newspaper strike, a New York mayor gained notoriety by reading comic strips over the radio. What was his name? Andrew?
Hearst.
Is not Hearst. Cougars, you have a chance to steal this U.S. history category. During a newspaper strike, a New York mayor gained notoriety by reading comic strips over the radio. What was his name? We're looking for LaGuardia. LaGuardia. Cougars, science, physics is your category, and it's a multiple choice question again. The first derivative of kinetic energy with respect to velocity is force, power, momentum, or acceleration. Thomas.
Acceleration.
It is not acceleration. Huskies, chance to steal this physics category. The first derivative of kinetic energy with respect to velocity is force, power, momentum, or acceleration. Michael.
Power.
It is not power. We're looking for momentum. Momentum. Huskies, you do get the next category, however, and it is movies. The New York Times called the hero of which Disney musical a cross between Quasimodo and a buffalo? Jesse?
The Beast.
It is the Beast in Beauty and the Beast. That is correct. Cougars, expressions is your category. I'll define it prosaically, and you identified the familiar expression. Here it is. Unsighted, like a flying mammal. Jordan?
Blind as a bat.
Blind as a bat is correct. Huskies, U.S. history, presidents is your category. 3 U.S. presidents were and are often referred to by merely their initials. Give the 3 sets of initials. Jack.
JFK.
Time on that. Cougars, chance to steal this U.S. history presidents question. 3 U.S. presidents. Jordan.
JFK, OBJ, and FDR.
Those are the 3. That is correct. Cougars, you have the next question. World geography. Which islands represent Britain's only remnant of the Duchy of Normandy? Huskies, chance to steal this world geography question. Which islands represent Britain's only remnant of the Duchy of Normandy? Andrew.
Shetland.
Cannot accept that. We're looking for the Channel Islands, or if you refer to them as Jersey and Guernsey, we would have accepted that as well. But that siren does indicate the end of round 1, which we have a current score of Blue Valley Northwest 8, Shawnee Mission Northwest 10. As we head into this part of our program, we will go to campus updates from each school. And from Blue Valley Northwest, we will have Michael give the update. Michael, what is happening with the Huskies?
Our winter sports are starting up, and we're excited about our potential results from both our basketball teams and as well as our wrestling and swim teams. And we're also beginning rehearsals for our winter production of The Drowsy Chaperone. And our sponsor saw it at Starlight and says it's pretty good. And our debate team is also doing pretty well. They recently took 3rd at the Bishop Miege sweepstakes. And that's it.
All right, fantastic. So lots of things happening over there on 135th and Schweitzer, if I'm not mistaken, right? All right, fantastic. And Thomas is giving the update from Shawnee Mission Northwest. Thomas, what's happening with the Cougars?
Well, our academic decathlon team just got 2nd at regionals on Saturday, and we just finished up our canned food drive. We raised over 9,000 cans. We are getting ready for our final band, choir, and orchestra concerts, as well as beginning the winter sports season with tryouts. Our cross-country team got third at Nike Regionals, and we are getting ready to our Adopt-A-Tot program.
All right. Fantastic. So what's the Adopt-A-Tot program? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
And so how's that work?
Students bring in, donate money, and they go out and buy gifts, and we bring in underprivileged kids to school, and we have like little mini Christmas for them.
That's awesome. So doing a lot of charitable work too. That's fantastic. Both schools, outstanding job. As we head into the second round here on categories, it is the lightning round, in which a question will be placed on the floor for either team to answer. If one team does respond incorrectly, the other team will get a chance to steal. So both teams, here we go. Ancient history is the category. The first one was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar in 586 BC. Rebuilt some 70 years later, it was replaced by the one destroyed by Titus. Jordan.
The Temple of Jerusalem.
Temple of Jerusalem. Thank you. Got me from stumbling into that question. Both teams, science, chemistry is the category. Which element combines with silicon to form the tetrahedral unit of structure of the silicate minerals? Andrew.
Hydrogen.
It is not hydrogen. Cougars, chance to steal this science chemistry question. What element combines with silicon to form the tetrahedral unit of structure of the silicate materials, or minerals, excuse me? Thomas.
Fluorine.
It is not fluorine, it is oxygen. Oxygen. Literature for both teams. The ship's doctor on board the Antelope was driven by a hurricane to the northwest of an island 30 degrees 2 minutes south. Name this fictional character. Time on that. We're looking for Gulliver. Gulliver. World geography for both teams. What are the two capitals of the Netherlands? Andrew.
Brussels and The Hague.
Can I accept Brussels and The Hague? Cougars, chance to steal this world geography question. What are the two capitals of the Netherlands? The Hague was one of them. The other one was Amsterdam. Amsterdam. Both teams, current events is the category. Name the NASCAR driver that just captured his... Kirk.
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson just captured his 5th consecutive sprint cup. Both teams, science, geology. Obsidian is a natural glass formed from rapidly cooling lava and is usually what color? Fedra.
Black.
It is black. That is correct. Vocabulary for both teams. What is the 6-letter verb which means to argue into or to coax? Jack?
Entrap.
Cannot accept entrap. Cougars, vocabulary is the category, your chance to steal. What is the 6-letter verb which means to argue into or to coax? Kirk?
Persuade.
Cannot accept persuade either. We're looking for cajole. Cajole. Science, C's for both teams. Generally, the warmer the climate, the richer and more abundant the life. However, the cold waters of the Arctic and Antarctic regions support more living things than do many warmer seas, because the colder seas have a greater quantities of what two? Jordan.
Oxygen and nitrogen.
Cannot accept oxygen and nitrogen. Huskies. Science, C's is the category, your chance to steal. Generally, the warmer the climate, the richer and more abundant the life. However, the colder waters of the Arctic and Antarctic regions support more living things than do many warmer seas, because the colder seas have greater quantities of what two molecules? Oxygen was one, the other was carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. Music terminology for both teams. What kind of play is a mixture of classical music and acting? Jordan.
Opera.
It is opera. You are correct. With that correct response, you have opened up a bit of a lead of 13 to Blue Valley Northwest 9. Foreign language for both teams. In French, beau-père and belle-mère are what two relatives? Jack.
Stepfather and stepmother.
Cannot accept that. Cougars, chance to steal this foreign language category. In French, beau-père and belle-mère are what two relatives? Kirk.
Grandma and Grandpa.
Cannot accept that either. We're looking for father-in-law and mother-in-law. U.S. geography, states to be specific. Both teams. It was the site of the Black Hawk Wars. The Ringling Brothers Circus began there at Baraboo. Name this state with university branches at Superior, Madison, and Eau Claire. Jordan.
Michigan.
That is incorrect. Jesse.
Wisconsin.
It is Wisconsin. U.S. history for both teams. In what Supreme Court decision was the executive branch's claim of absolute privilege of confidentiality of presidential communications denied? Jack.
During the Watergate trial.
I cannot accept that. Cougars, you have a chance to steal this U.S. history category. In what Supreme Court decision was the executive branch's claim of absolute privilege of confidentiality of presidential communications denied? Jack, you're on the right track. I did need the exact name, though. It was United States versus Richard Nixon was the U.S. government, another U.S. government question for both teams. What governmental term is used to describe the distribution of legislative seats according to population? Looking for apportionment. Both teams, artist is the category. He defined painting as the task of giving corporeal shape to 3 dimensions on a flat surface. Who was this Renaissance artist? Jordan?
Da Vinci.
It is Da Vinci is correct. U.S. history for both teams. The Civil War fiercely divided this state. Over 30,000 fought for the Confederacy. About 64,000 fought for the Union. What state is it? Andrew?
Virginia.
It is not Virginia. Cougars, chance to steal this U.S. history category. The Civil War fiercely divided this state. Over 30,000 fought for the Confederacy. About 64,000 fought for the Union. What is this state? Kirk.
Missouri.
It is not Missouri. It is Kentucky. Economics for both teams. Why are preferred stocks called that when they often have no voting rights? The answer on that one is they have the first right to dividends. Science for both teams. It's multiple choice. Does a food chain always begin with a plant, a fungus, an animal, or bacteria? Jordan.
Bacteria.
That is incorrect. Huskies, chance to steal this science category. Michael.
Plant.
Plant is correct. Literature is the category for both teams. What was the number on Baker Street where Sherlock Holmes? Jordan?
221B.
221B is exactly right. Mythology for both teams. When his fleet lay windbound in the port of Aulis, this king obeyed a prophet and gave his own daughter, Iphigenia, as a human sacrifice. Andrew?
Agamemnon.
Agamemnon is correct. Spelling for both teams. How do you spell pessimistic? Mitch?
Pessisimistic.
Cannot accept that. I'm sorry. Huskies, chance to steal this spelling category. How do you spell pessimistic? Jesse?
Pessimistic.
That is correct. World geography for both teams. What is the name of the line from which latitudes are reckoned? Jordan?
The equator.
The equator is correct. Vocabulary for both teams. Give me a 5-syllable word for jailed. Phaedra?
Incarcerated.
Incarcerated is correct. General knowledge for both teams. What breed of dog is often called the royal dog of Japan because emperors kept them as pets? Jordan?
Shih Tzu.
Cannot accept Shih Tzu. Huskies, chance to steal this general knowledge category. What breed of dog is often called the royal dog of Japan because emperors kept them as pets? Jack?
Aikido.
Cannot accept that. It's Akita. Both teams. Artist is the next category. Jacob Van Riesdael John Constable and William Turner are best known for their, in the multiple choice here, book illustrations, portraits, still lifes, or landscapes? Jesse?
Landscapes.
Landscapes is correct. History for both teams, fairly long question, so please pay attention. It is March, and in Boston there is a gathering to mark the 5th anniversary of the massacre. In London, Parliament passes a restraining act aimed at New England fishing vessels. In Virginia, a convention hears Patrick Henry say, "Give me liberty or give me death." What's the year? Michael?
1775.
1775 is correct. And with that correct response, you have evened up the score at 16 apiece. Science, astronomy is the next category for both teams. In many of its appearances throughout history, it was an impressive sight, but for most of 1986, over most of the world, it was a very dim object in the sky. Kirk?
Halley's Comet.
Halley's Comet is correct. Math is the next category for both teams. The area of a parallelogram is 40 and the base is 10. Find the altitude drawn to that base. Jordan?
4.
It is 4. And we're back at a tie, we are actually open up a 2-point lead. Literature, presidential literature to be exact for both teams. The second volume of a study of his life entitled Means of Ascent claims that his 87-vote victory in the 1948 Texas Democratic senatorial primary was a blatant steal. Who was this win-at-all-cost politician? Kirk?
Johnson.
Johnson is correct. Film terminology for both teams. The process of putting together a motion picture soundtrack is called what? Kirk?
Composing.
Cannot accept composing. Huskies, chance to steal this film terminology question. The process of putting together a motion picture soundtrack is called what? Andrew?
Arrangement.
Cannot accept arrangement. We're looking for mixing. General knowledge for both teams. It's one of those common proverbs questions. What common proverb is camouflaged in the following poem? Your immediate environment submit to circumspection, ere you traverse some feet of space by muscular projection. Thomas?
Look before you leap.
Look before you leap is exactly what we were looking for. And you've opened up a bit of a lead here, 20-16. Geography for both teams. What unique instruments are found on Kitt Peak? Jack?
Telescopes?
Telescopes. That is correct. Spelling for both teams. Ebullient means overflowing with excitement and liveliness. How do you spell ebullient? Phaedra?
EMBULLIENT.
We will accept that. Very good. And the both teams, the score ends up with a, there we go, they did a correction there. Shawnee Mission Northwest does win the game 20 to Blue Valley Northwest 18. A well-played game again here on Categories. Please join us again next time as we bring you the best and brightest high school minds right here in Johnson County.